oranges to make noise. I need to get an actual soundboard. I think that would actually help more, but whatever. Kevin, what's up, man?
So we're live now?
Yeah, we are live.
That's funny. On Borderlands 3, I got a vehicle that has that horn on it.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
What character did you go with?
I went with Mose.
Mose?
Yes, because in all the previous Borderlands, I always liked summoning tech. I went with Roland in the first one, Axton in the second one with his turrets. Both of them had turrets.
Nice.
And then in the pre-sequel, I went with Wilhelm.
Okay.
That summoned drones.
Nice.
He was fun.
That's sick. I know my roommate Angel's been playing that game a lot too, and he's like pretty into it. So, what the character you went with, Angel?
I went with the Beastmaster,
Flack, the Beastmaster. I haven't played it. I need to play
They
it.
all look like fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll probably obviously that's a game that you obviously play multiple times with different characters and just get different.
Oh yeah.
I could see that. So, we were talking before the podcast, before we started, what you pretty much started doing today. I mean, no sleep. You are pretty
No
much
sleep. I got off work, a 12-hour shift at 6 a.m.
and you're still going strong.
Yeah.
And now
I'm a security guard, though, so I just stare at a gate for
It's
12 hours. I don't really do much, but
it's okay, but still
it's still a 12-hour shift.
and the hours though, like you've been awake so long and you're still awake.
Mm-hmm.
This is unhealthy, dude. That's what
I
people
didn't want to miss out on football this week.
And that's another thing too. It's like you sacrifice sleep for football.
Yeah, to watch the Cowboys play the Dolphins.
Which again, you said the Cowboys won, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, I don't know how to feel about that. Is that a good or a bad thing?
Are you a Cowboys fan?
No, but I mean,
Are you a football fan?
not really. But still, I
You
mean,
shouldn't really feel anything about it.
that's true. I mean, I really don't care. But I mean, it's so crazy how popular it is. It's a really popular pastime, American pastime that people either like to play or watch. Like,
Yeah,
so
and
much
it's in this weird era right now because they're trying to make it safer, and they have, and it's kind of taken some of the entertainment out of it.
What do you mean safer? Like, okay, I have heard like Joe Rogan how he's explaining like the head injuries and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's just the defenders, mainly the way defenders hit players. They try to make it safer, and they're trying to like avoid targeting the head.
Okay.
And they got rid of kick returns basically, and that has actually reduced concussions. Onside kicks are really hard these days because of the rule changes, so there's less concussions, like less probability at least for that.
Okay.
But like onside kicks were fun, kick returns were fun.
You saw that, yeah, that moment. Well, it's after the play, right? Like after they after they make a goal. That's not the 2-point conversion that you're talking about, right?
No.
The kick return was after all four.
Like when they score, they kick it off to the other team.
Yeah.
Like they usually kick it in the end zone now, and if you don't take it out of the end zone, it's a touchback, so you don't return it at all. And you start off, it used to be on the 20-yard line, but now they moved it to the 25-yard line, even though they made the rules so that it's easier for the offense to score anyways. I don't know why they moved them closer, to the end zone.
Yeah.
They should have kept it at the 20.
That's crazy.
Because like passing records are being broken like every single year, seemingly.
Oh god. So I guess I get what you're saying is like they made it more safer, but still they're obviously finding ways to bypass that to make it more acceptable for them. Like, dude, throwing a pass at that far is like, and then still running it through at the like instant touchdowns almost, right? If you can get the right play going.
Yeah.
So like taking it from that one.
Yeah, and sometimes like they take advantage. It seems like they're taking advantage of pass interference calls because you can get like 70 yards on a penalty called with that, or not 70. That's exaggerating, but 30, 40, 50 easily.
That's crazy. Who is your team?
The Cowboys.
What? Are you serious?
Yes.
What the fuck what's going on right now? Holy shit. Well, I mean, that's cool. So at least your team won today.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the main reason why you wanted to see it.
Yes.
So if it's your team, you're more dedicated to watching the game.
Yeah.
But if it's not, then maybe you'll catch it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe.
Just trying to get the initial steps of how a football fan here works.
Right.
Because, I mean, that's, like, pretty typical, right? If you follow a team, you really want to watch all their games.
Yeah. Yeah, usually. And if they have, like, division rivals, sometimes you want to watch them because, like, they play them a lot. And, you know, they're competing against them to make the playoffs, in this case, in the NFL, you know.
Yeah. I see.
And if you're a fan in general, you know, I at least watch the playoffs no matter who's playing because the stakes are pretty high. The loser's going to get eliminated.
It's just
more intense.
Yeah, it's just a good competition that's going on that everyone's into.
Yeah.
Mostly. I still don't get it, though. I don't know why. I just don't get it.
It's entertainment.
That's true. Some people are just like, why do you watch basketball or that? Like, I don't watch basketball all the time,
why do you watch these types of movies?
Yeah.
Or this TV show or whatever?
Yeah. That's amazing to think about too, is because other people in other countries probably are just like amazed by what we are into, and yet whatever they're into is totally different.
Right, yeah, like soccer is the world's
a big
sport,
thing,
apparently,
yeah.
But like no one cares about it.
Yeah.
Outside of like women's soccer in this country.
That's so weird. Even like different places with what their music genre is, it's just like like we were talking about that last time. It's like we have shitty, like no fucking amazing metal festivals or anything. If it is, it's like something like Knot Fest or something that's like has that kind of.
I think Milwaukee used to have one. I don't know if they still do.
What?
Milwaukee had a metal festival.
Really?
I don't know what it was called.
Oh.
I think.
Angel,
somewhere in the Midwest.
You should look that up. You should look up American metal festivals. Probably look up something like that. Any recent ones, but even then, though, the other stuff like doesn't compare to like Bloodstock or Vakken and all that shit. Like,
yeah, Vakken's fun. It looks fun. I'd love to go.
Oh man. American Metal Festivals Fest. I don't know. I mean, all the classics. What else? Dude, there's so many things I want to just bring up at once. I hate when I fucking do a podcast. What about that stupid thing with Post Malone and Ozzy? Did you hear about that?
Oh, didn't he use like one of his samples?
Or he actually got him to come into the studio and do.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like a guest appearance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
everyone under 30 years old is like, who's this old guy?
Yeah. Freaky.
Who's this grandpa you dragged into the studio?
Oh, look, there is a couple.
Monster Energy Aftershock.
Louder Than Life Festival.
Kentucky.
Click on that Louder Than Life Festival. Yeah. See if they have any lineups. Who's gonna be there?
Dia de los Deftones.
What? Oh, I see Guns N' Roses. Like I see a picture of Guns N' Roses. I do see Slipknot. I saw Rob Zombie. as well. Did you see he was recently on the Joe Rogan podcast?
Yeah, I've been meaning to watch that. You know, musicians are pretty interesting.
Yeah.
At least the ones he has. The Steven Tyler one was pretty interesting, but it was really hard to listen to his damn voice.
No, man. You're just not into it?
It just sounds like he didn't take care of his voice throughout all these years. That's why he's on American Idol or whatever the hell.
Yeah, that's true. But yet he was bragging about how, like, back in his day, that's real singing. Like, we were doing real singing. Now all these kids...
That's because autotune didn't exist back then. That's why.
All of these kids are just using other things.
Oh man, I've been watching Nightwish live videos recently with the singer they have now, Floor Jansen. She's amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
I have to check her out.
She is awesome.
I haven't seen anything recent. Like, I like all of their like old stuff, but all I remember is their first singer, or the singer that they had previously. I forgot her name, but
they had 3 of them. The first one had the opera style.
Okay.
And the replacement, she didn't really do that too much. She had like a pop style tour almost. It didn't fit in at all.
Okay.
She was good at what she did, but it wasn't Nightwish anymore all of a sudden.
And then the third singer was
Oh, she's amazing. She could so versatile. She can do anything.
nice. Yeah, I guess I was into the opera singer one. That's what I remember mostly. Like
Oh yeah,
Planet
the new one can do the current one can do the opera singing.
doing the old stuff, and I need to get back into Nightwish. I haven't heard anything from them in a while. They have some cool shit. But then again, like I just love when I mean, those are bands that have been out for quite a while though, and still
like
come up.
25 years.
Yeah, and they still come out with great stuff.
And like they're one of the bands that's gotten better over time.
Yeah, that's
because he's actually like composing
like
orchestral
symphonies
pieces.
and stuff,
It sounds
yeah.
like a goddamn movie.
I wouldn't doubt that they can do that. That's why again those festivals overseas are so much better because they do have like, oh, for this band set they obviously need a whole orchestra. So guess what? You get to see a whole orchestra for this set, and then the next band that comes on is just maybe like a regular thrash metal band, and then it's all of them, and then it comes on again with like Demon Borgir, where you just have this.
Yeah, it has the orchestra and a choir.
Oh man, and this amazing stage show. It just makes me so jealous. I'm just like, fuck, why does nothing good ever happen here besides like mass shootings? Like, what the hell?
It's the travel visas. I'm sure we talked about this on the previous podcast.
That's true.
Bush Jr. made it really difficult to get travel visas for a lot of those bands, and a lot of them had questionable histories, questionable past.
So it's just them not being able to get here.
And it's expensive to tour here to begin with.
So you think it's
for them at least, the European bands.
so like Abbott? It's probably going to be a lot more expensive for him than Obituary because Obituary is here, right? So they have to like
Yeah, they don't have to get travel visas. They don't have to pay for travel visas for their entire crew they're bringing over here.
Okay, I could totally see that. Unless they've been here for a while, right? Or
And then they have to convert the money to their the currency, the U.S. currency, to their currency. And I don't think Norway uses the euro, but I wouldn't be surprised if their currency is stronger than ours.
okay,
I have no idea.
that's gonna be.
But
pretty,
they might, with the conversion rates, they might make even less.
Oh man, see, yeah, that's pretty shitty too. Is that they would have to like spend the money here or do something here before taking it back because they would lose out on sales and stuff. Because maybe it takes so much to produce a shirt over there, but when it comes over here, they sell it for so much and then go back. It's like, oh, we barely broke even. Like other bands here, that's what always pisses me off. Like printed shirts, like the ones we have at concerts, run for like $40 to $50, but yet are only printed for like less than $20. Like it had to have taken at least $20 to $25 to print this shirt. It had to taken at least $20 to print your shirt. Like it couldn't have taken anything more than that.
Right.
But yet, if you're at the concert with the experience of the band, you fucking pay massive.
Yeah, but I like paying for merchandise directly from the bands at
To
shows.
support, right?
Yeah, for the support. They get the most profit out of that. I've been trying to buy shirts from the official online stores, from the bands. And a lot of them, since I like European bands so much, I have to order a bunch of shit from Europe.
Oh, okay. So there's that shipping cost and all that. That's even more. Damn it. That's so stupid. How does the film industry deal with that?
I
then?
ordered like 5 patches from Ukraine a few months ago, and it took like 5 weeks to get over here.
Really?
And shipping was like $20 almost.
Just for the patches?
Yeah.
They came in like an envelope kind of thing? That sucks. Well, I mean, that's how it was. That's how it is. I mean, it's not as bad, though, because I like to see it as, like, at least stuff is getting produced around the world that we still get to enjoy. So, like, even though you have that merch that comes from there, I mean, we still get it, and we still get to use it and enjoy the music that is produced over there. And in some sense, maybe some of them.
That's why, like, to inevitably go back to black metal, the second wave of black metal, the true Norwegian black metalers, should they really be mad that it got so popular? Like, the internet happened immediately after all that, All this stuff was going to be everything is able to be shared worldwide now in an instant. So it's kind of bad timing that was out of their control.
Yeah, if they're with the philosophy that they're sticking with, right?
Might have been inevitable despite all the controversies surrounding it.
Yeah, that's true because like there's even like music that's like super like older, like maybe like Gregorian chants and stuff that's now is widely spread. Anybody can hear them now.
Mm-hmm.
That were probably like, oh, only a certain part of this country was hearing them because nobody else got around to getting them. But now, like you said, everybody has everything, and like that,
At least access to it.
that's true. And anything, like literally anything, if you like different products from like a different country, you can get that stuff too. Like you don't have to just like, oh, I like, I don't know. How does it work for food? Like, can you get like certain food shipped and stuff like that? Maybe like doing more organic growing from like, because I hear that supposedly the pasta and stuff from Italy is way different than anywhere else. So,
Oh yeah, the olive oil too. Most American olive oil sold in this country is the crap stuff.
really,
Yeah.
see, I don't know the difference. I wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah.
Until I tried it.
Like they keep all the high quality stuff, at least most of it.
So that when they ship it, we just get shipped like the leftover back stuff.
Yeah, because that's the cheap stuff, and we don't know any better.
Wow. See, even like marketing is so fucking crazy. Like, I mean, obviously we don't know any better. We think it's not organic, but like, look at how authentic and genuine this bottle is. But yet, we come to figure out it's like the after of the whole jug. Like this had this whole jug, and it's just that's so fucking weird.
And like organic food is wildly the term is wildly different than organic chemistry.
What do you mean?
Because when I think of organic, I think of chemistry first, organic chemistry. And all organic chemistry is carbon-based chemistry.
Okay,
That's it.
Oh. But yeah,
So then you think of organic food, and it's just all natural without pesticides or anything. That's really what it is.
that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed. That's what they tell us. GMO free too, whatever.
I mean, I don't know the difference anymore if I was eating like a product that was like produced in mass for like with pesticides and stuff, then not. I mean, even if you go to like a farmer's market and stuff and you're just like, oh, look at these beautiful apples and stuff, and you go to Walmart and get some apples, I'm just like,
Right.
oh my God.
And,
Well,
like, sometimes you can tell with the taste, but I've always had a poor sense of smell.
yeah.
So my taste buds have never been that, good.
Okay. As in like being able to taste things or just like
Yeah,
flavor
because like
wise?
flavor wise,
Like,
I can taste things all right. It's just like it's not. How do I say it? How do I explain this?
what's something that you eat that tastes like not what
like fruit tastes? Fruit tastes like fruit to me. I know it. I know raspberries taste like raspberries, but like other stuff, kind of like pastas, unless it's seasoned heavily, it's kind of bland to me.
Okay. I can see
Because
that.
like your sense of smell is tied in with your sense of taste.
So it's just not as strong.
Mm-hmm.
Even
I'd have to have like something like really strong and sweet in this case, like fruit.
just to taste it.
Yeah, like vegetables are kind of bland because
pretty
they're
much-
mainly water.
All of them, you're just like, God, I don't taste shit.
Yeah, I still like them though, but
I guess that's true of everything though. I mean, people love watermelon. That
so
shit
like
is like
I'm less likely to complain about bland food.
of
I
bland.
guess
Yeah.
it's just how to explain it. Like I still taste things, just not that well.
I mean, that makes sense. That
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. I'm pretty sure there's somebody else out there that explains that exact same thing, where it's like I can taste it, but just not as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's sometimes where I don't know. I don't think I taste seafood as well. Like everyone's like, don't you taste that like tangy or like taste like that? I'm just like,
Yeah.
not as much. I don't
Like delicious, tasty food that's seasoned well, I could taste that just fine. But if it's bland, I'm less likely to complain about it.
So if they're just like slap a steak with not a lot of seasoning, you're just like,
Whatever.
I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. You're not the guy who just like pull out the A1 sauce, bro.
Right.
That's crazy. I love.
If it's a good steak, you don't need the
Yeah.
A1 sauce.
That's what. That's a cool, funny joke that I hear on Hank Hill from King of the Hill. That's gross. Why would you put A1 sauce on your steak? Who does that? There's a lot of people who do that though. I don't know. Anyways, so what happened last week? You got to see the experience of my stand-up for the first time.
Yeah, I saw your Facebook post and about your open mic session at Bosie's, which is
Yeah.
like, I go to that bar every time I go downtown. Like, that's where I start the night.
That's crazy.
I really like the local brews there.
That's cool.
They have a good selection and a good turnaround. Like they always have new stuff in and out.
Coming in and out.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder. First learning about a brewery too. That's so crazy that they pretty much make the thing there. But
Yeah, if you walk to the restrooms, you can see like the little warehouse or
The
whatever in the
tanks
back
and everything.
where they brew everything.
But that's like, oh man, where do they come up with the ideas of what flavors they're gonna do for this time? They're like, okay, this
Just-
season we're gonna
it's-
try.
Who knows? It's just experimentation.
That's weird.
And then they just taste it amongst themselves. I was like, let's put this out there. See what
Okay.
happens.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they taste it too to their liking, and then they're just like, well, I like this taste. This is pretty good.
Right. If they don't like it, they probably wouldn't serve it. I would think.
Hopefully,
Hopefully.
but you never know. See,
you
that's
never know.
what if they're that people are just like,
Whatever. Like we need to make money off of this.
and then as the consumers, we kind of do like it because we don't like, you know.
Yeah. Like when Birch Tiki Lounge was open, they had a mystery lager that was like $2 a glass or whatever.
What?
And it was usually the keg that no one was buying, and it was about to like go bad or whatever.
Oh,
Or
God.
they just needed like shelf room and needed to get rid of it.
So they just had
It's
like a
just mystery.
special.
It was mystery lager, and it's usually like a really bad IPA.
Oh man, that's ridiculous. I don't get where they would come up with again all this
Yeah,
stuff.
they just called it a mystery lager, and most of the time it was an ale. Liars.
They tried.
Deserve to be closed.
They should have had some other kind of mystery in it. Like again, they shouldn't have called
mystery
mystery
brew.
a drink. Yeah,
Yeah.
a fucking mystery. We have a
The
$2.
snobs like me are gonna be like, this is an ale. What the fuck?
Right. Do I get a discount on this?
That's the mystery. It's not even a lager.
All right. From the beginning, I thought it was gonna get a lager. I was blown away by this mystery. Oh man, alcohol is crazy though. What is a good tasting beer? Like, what is considered a good tasting beer? Like,
I
obvious
really like Double White from Marble Brewery.
double white.
Double White.
White. Why is that?
Um,
What is the taste difference between like a Corona in that, or a Budweiser in that, or a White Claw, the new favorite
I
nowadays?
haven't tried the White Claw.
The new favorite nowadays, the White
Do
Claw.
they exist? I haven't seen one.
I know,
I
right?
only see them in memes.
We have to try it. We have to try it at
I
least.
don't want to try it.
You never know. It could be the most. Nah, it probably isn't that great.
It's worth the hype.
At least a try. I think at least a try. But anyways, what defines a good beer to you?
Well, I'm not a big fan of IPAs. I don't really like the bitter stuff,
And is that more?
which is kind of funny because I love sour candy. I love tart stuff. So, but in beer, it doesn't work for me.
So do IPAs always have like a certain kind of tint to them? Are they darker color or lighter color? Or it just depends on what they
It
brew?
all depends. It's all about having a lot of hops. They use a lot of hops, which makes it bitter.
Okay.
Like that's what they have going for them.
Because I mean, there's been some IPAs that I've heard of that are like I don't know, like peach or something, and then it's like a really like lightish color, but then you see like another IPA that's like, I don't fucking know. That actually.
Yeah, I've seen them light colored, dark colored. The red ales have like a reddish brown to them.
No, it just depends on what they get brewed
It
with.
depends.
What
Like, lagers are usually clear and light colored. Stouts are dark.
Stouts.
Duh.
Damn.
Love stouts.
What's a stout?
They're dark. They're not as carbonated. They're usually a little stronger. Like the average beer is about 4.5%, 5%, 5.5%.
Okay.
Like your typical lager, your typical Coronas, Budweiser, stuff like that. But stouts, they could be about that, but they can also be like 7, 8%.
Okay.
IPAs can do the same thing. They could be pretty strong.
That's crazy how they make the two. It's just by fermentation, and then all of a sudden it becomes a
Mhm.
certain level.
Hmm.
I mean,
And it gets harder over time because the environment, there's too much alcohol in the liquid for the yeast to survive, so they're dying off quicker and quicker the higher the alcohol content in beer, at least.
okay. So it's like the right point, so it doesn't like ruin the batch of the alcohol and stuff.
Yeah, because yeast is feeding off all that stuff that you mix the beer in. I don't remember what it is exactly, like the barley and the wheat and all that stuff, the ingredients in the beer. So they're feeding off that, and their excess is the alcohol. So they're basically drowning in their own waste.
Okay, yeah, because it rises, right? And you
Yeah.
just, okay.
Yeah, and then you have to filter that out because you're just drinking like dead yeast
Oh my god, that's
if you drink unfiltered beer.
that's crazy. And to think, oh my god, how long does that process take? It has to take like what, a couple months?
It depends. My dad made beer a lot, and I made one batch with him 9 years ago, and we made a lager. It was very similar to a Land Shark. This is that Jimmy Buffett beer,
Okay.
Margaritaville beer. You ever had that?
Oh man,
It's like American style Corona, Cerveza.
pretty light.
Yeah,
Okay.
light. You add lime to it because it's kind of a Cerveza, Mexican style beer.
Cerveza.
Yeah.
Una cerveza.
So
But the
when
process.
we mixed it all together, and we put it in a bucket, and it fermented for a week at least, maybe 2 weeks. I don't remember the process exactly.
Okay.
A week or two. You leave it in like room temperature, out of sunlight, just in the corner somewhere. I think it's about a week. There's a little bubbler that shows like the carbon dioxide that's being left, or whatever gas that's being left off in the waste.
Okay.
So there's a little bubbler thing at the top of the bucket that my dad used, at least the kit he used. And once that stops bubbling, that means it stopped fermenting. So then you bottle it after that. Or no, how did it go?
'Cause you have to drain
I
it
think
or
you have
something,
to
right?
you add yeast twice, I think, because you mix it all together at first, then you add the yeast, and they feed off that, and then when you bottle it, no, I'm getting this all wrong. You add the yeast after it's done bubbling, when you bottle it,
Okay.
and when you bottle it, you leave it alone for a batch we had. It was ready after 2 weeks, but it was best after 6 weeks.
Okay.
And the bottling is what carbonates it.
It's like the curing process, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but the way he did it, he wasn't able to filter it before the bottling process, so you had to pour it out into a glass, and you had to watch the sediment at the bottom.
Okay. Because it all is pretty much at the bottom.
Yeah,
And then just making sure.
and all that is just waste.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. I mean, I could imagine.
But yeah, you add the yeast after it's done bubbling, because you just mix it all together and set it aside.
Nice. That's sick. What did you guys call it? Did you guys have a name for it? The boys.
The boys.
The boys
No,
brewing.
no, I didn't. My dad usually names them all, and he used to make like labels for them too.
Yeah, see,
he
that's
got really into it.
that'd be pretty sick. Cause can't you like go to competitions and stuff with those and try like send your brew out, be like, hey guys, this is my recipe.
Yeah, I'm sure. And the laws in this state are pretty lax on brewing your own stuff privately.
Nice.
Like Texas has really strict laws, if I remember correctly.
And that's just of brewing beer, right? Like alcohol
Yes.
like that. Like I'm pretty sure it's a different process with like wine and like doing whiskey.
Right, I don't really know much about that.
Because I know there's a bunch of people that do the whole moonshine thing a lot.
Yeah.
So that's a whole nother
Yeah.
process, right?
Hmm.
It's crazy.
But yeah, with beer in this state at least, if you brew your own, you can give it to whoever you want, as long as they're over 21,
Yeah.
But you can't sell it without a license.
I see what you're saying. That's still pretty sick.
But you can give it away all you want.
Yeah, I mean, guys, come over and have yourself a brewski that I made.
Hmm.
That's actually.
But if you sell it, it has to be taxed.
But then, doesn't that just give you incentive to start your own? Like, well, might as well start my own company.
Yeah.
Is that where like those what is that, Alien Brew, like all those like local ones, right?
Yeah, the Roswell Brewery.
Yeah, those are all those local things they're trying to like get out
They
there.
were popularized through the Isotopes Park, I think.
Really?
Yeah, they served their stuff there, and it's just kind of spread from there, I believe.
That's crazy. Because I do see like their packs sometimes at like Smith's and like.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I like them.
I'm just like, that's sick. But as we were speaking last week, you recently saw the first stand-up. How did you like that experience? The experience of seeing multiple comics doing their funny things. I remember you had a comment about the lady that was funny time that she just like wouldn't shut up after, even though it was a bad set.
Yeah, there was so many things wrong with her set. She bombed really bad, and she talked about being a witch that only does anal sex, and no matter how hard I tried, it was impossible to relate to that.
Yeah, you were just like thinking about it.
It's just, and then she bombed, and then after her set, she continued, or she started to talk during everyone else's set.
Like pretty
Didn't
loud.
give a shit.
Yeah.
Pretty fucking loud at the bar. Just ignoring everyone else. Fuck everyone. And that is just go outside. There's a patio. Go outside.
And that was your first open mic experience, right? Like that kind of open mic?
Yeah. Like the only good stand-up I've been to, as I told you last week, I saw Fred Armisen at the Sunshine Theater back in May this year.
And that's like a little bit different because those
it was different because he played a lot of music as well.
Sold tickets. I mean, everyone came to actually see him.
It was the Sunshine, so it was standing room only. That was really weird
for
a comedy show.
Yeah, you were saying. Because there were those times where it's like in between there was like bits where you guys are just like, well, he's telling a joke. Like, you know, people would be sitting down or something at this point.
And then he would tell a joke that involved music, and then he'd be playing a song, and people would jam out for a few seconds.
Again. But it wasn't starting no mosh pit or anything, right?
No.
That would have been funny. See, that would have been more of a
The heaviest thing he played was that Kansas song, I think. Carry On My Wayward Son.
Really? That's hilarious. And obviously there was a joke behind it.
Yeah. Yeah, he was talking about how, like, he can't imagine being the rhythm guitarist trying to learn that song.
Yeah, there you
Because
go.
it's all over the place.
Yeah, I remember you saying the keyboard solo hits. Like, what
the
fuck?
keyboard solo hits, and he just threw his arms up in the air. It's like, what am I supposed to do?
Right.
I give up.
Let everyone else follow along. We could play parts together. That's crazy. But yeah, I mean, and you saw different kinds of stand-up going on. Like, remember the guy that did the improv? Like, he tried to improv with a person.
Right.
And it was just like...
Kept asking her questions about the Bible, and she knew less than I did about the Bible, and that's really saying something.
It was horrible, like... I mean, it was crowd work that he was doing really good, but I mean, imagine if he would have got like somebody more talkative or something. Do you think that those skits or that portion
knowledgeable about the random topic
that he was talking
about?
Because I mean, half the time she's just like,
but he was so good, he was able to.
I don't know.
Work with nothing.
She
gave him nothing, and he
money. That's like shit like that she was saying just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It was funny, though.
But yeah, that must have been tough because everyone bombed. Like 4 out of 5 people bombed, I think, and then you went on.
Yeah.
But you brought them back right away because you talked about video games. And, they reacted to that very well immediately.
That was funny, yeah. And I can't wait for tonight because I feel like I have a little funnier set with what's been going on with, like, Area 51 and shit like that. So that's going to be fun.
Did you see the Naruto run?
Oh, my God. I can't believe that guy got fucking...
Is that how it's pronounced? Naruto?
Naruto run. I can't believe he got famous because of that. Pull up the Naruto run, Angel. Pull up the Naruto run so we can give this guy a little bit of more... Well, maybe we'll get some more off of it. But, yeah.
Symbiosis. Let's help each other out.
Yeah, the dude, literally, it's so stupid. Did you see any of the footage, any of the live footage at all? Or just the news reports?
A little bit. I skimmed over it because I was arguing with a Facebook friend about taxes recently, and just no matter what idea brought up, she shot it down.
It was just, no, you're wrong.
Yeah, and at one point, I suggested lowering the military budget, and one of her random friends that I don't even know accused me of being anti-military. It was hilarious.
You don't want to save
Like,
us?
like, I want to end the wars and bring our troops out of danger, and I'm against the military? Go fuck yourself. What are you talking about?
That's so crazy too. It's just those little see this guy? Oh my god.
Oh, that's great.
And that's it. That was it. There was some other footage too. I guess people started going at like 3:00 in the morning. Like they were there early as fuck. And they were doing that Naruto run right to the gate or the guard and then turning around. You know, like doing the whole, oh yeah, and then I turn around. I can't believe this guy got famous. What the fuck? Why? Why? There it is. There's the Naruto run.
Aren't these glorious times we live in?
What? That's so crazy. Oh, man.
The world is so strange right now.
And did you know that there's like a bunch of stuff still going on there? Fucking alien stock is going on right now.
Alien stock?
Alien stock is going on right now. There's like a concert thing going on. I don't know if it's still like, type in alien stock. See what's going
Like
on
in that area?
Yeah, they said
leeching off of Area 51?
Yeah, no, I think they're bringing out generators
Publicity?
and shit like that.
No, like the publicity of them.
Oh yeah,
Using them.
yeah. They're like, come to this area, to the Arizona, Nevada area.
Right, this is our gimmick. This is our festival gimmick.
Yeah, see, it started right now.
Bunch of people like on drugs dressed as aliens.
Probably, dude. Oh my god.
Alien cosplay Burning Man. Is that
Pretty much, dude. That's what it is. There was a bunch of other people. It's a free event. Look at that. Bud Light. Bud Light presents it.
Oh, in Las Vegas. That's pretty cool. Interesting. Of course, someone has to commercialize all of this.
It was like, oh man. It was such a hype thing. Like, did you really think somebody was gonna run through there?
Mm-hmm.
Did you?
No,
No,
no. I thought you were like asking that.
yeah, as a rhetorical thing.
Yeah.
No, but
No.
yeah, why?
No, no.
Can't. I mean, oh my god.
If you do, you're gonna get mowed down.
Even then, they wouldn't. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't kill anybody, but they'd just shoot them with like rubber bullets or something.
Like seriously, stop.
Yeah, or like they there was some footage of them. They had the attack dogs and stuff. So I mean, they would have just let that fucker go, and there goes your leg.
Right.
So.
And what are you gonna find? You gave like the government like a couple months warning that you're gonna do this. They probably moved everything out of there if there's anything important there to begin with.
I don't even think they were that stupid. They're just like, these guys are dumb.
Or like, don't even bother.
Yeah.
Don't even humor them. Nothing's gonna happen.
Why? The thing that got me though was that the celebrities were endorsing this too. Like you would see some memes where it's just like John Cena just be like, "See you guys at Area 51" or some bullshit like that. And just like, this just entices more
we
people.
Can't see him.
I know, right? That's why he wants to go. They can't see him when he gets there. Oh man, that's Area 51, dude. And this all happened because that stupid Joe Rogan podcast with Bob Lazar.
That's how it happened.
Fucking has to have, dude. It has to have, because I saw that podcast, and then a few days later, this started to happen.
Like Bob Lazar's the whistleblower on Area 51, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, people were freaking out, especially when they were like, that's what's kind of stupid though, is like he had to like revisit this again because nobody believes him. Like this is like the third time he's told this story and is trying to get it out there. Hopefully Netflix did the right job of making the documentary and doing it, but I don't know.
Seems like Netflix is willing to throw money at anything.
Yeah, dude. Obvious. Dude.
Have you seen The Dark Crystal?
No. What is that?
You don't know what The Dark Crystal is?
No.
Oh, it's a movie from like 1980. It's from the 80s. It was Jim Henson, the Muppets dude.
Yeah.
Jim Henson movie. It was really good.
Dark Crystal.
The Dark Crystal. Netflix just made a prequel on it, a show. It's really good.
So it was a show from the 80s.
It was a movie.
A movie.
In the
Okay, I actually have seen like that figure before.
Yeah, those are gelflings.
Gelflings.
Yeah, little tiny elf-looking things.
And then that weird
there's
bird.
Deet. She's amazing. The one with the braids.
Yeah. And they like like a sequel to it, like the next
It's
part?
a prequel.
Oh.
Netflix released a prequel,
prequel.
a show, 10 episodes, and in the movie, like the heroes are the Gelflings, those little things,
Yeah.
little elf-looking things, and in the movie, like they didn't really delve too deep into their lore because it was supposed to be all lost, because the villains wiped them out, so they kind of like lost their history a little bit. They lost communication. It was very
Hold on, this is a
open.
little too late, but spoiler alerts. All right, go ahead.
but the lore was very open because they didn't really go into it too much in the movie.
Okay.
So therefore, the prequel didn't really have too many limits.
So the story that they built was pretty. Well, they had a lot to do.
It was open-ended because there was very little universe building, world building, amongst the Gelflings at least.
Okay.
They were kind of mysterious.
That's pretty
But in
cool.
the prequel, they really focus on their society.
So they did a pretty good tie-in then. You already saw the whole thing?
Yes, it was great. I binge watched the entire 10 episodes on Labor Day recently.
Oh, nice. The Dark Crystal. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's really good. Mainly puppets. There's a little bit of CGI in the show. It's not too distracting.
But it's still, I mean, if it has a good story, you don't really.
Really good story.
Nah, that's like.
Really good story. Good voice acting. Good characters. Mark Hamill's the scientist.
Really?
The evil scientist.
Nice. Again, it's so crazy how much stuff Netflix is making. Like, Netflix is doing so much. Like, we were talking about it last time. They're dominating the stand-up right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing so much on stand-up.
They a lot of good original shows.
Content that's coming out. And they have license to a lot of stuff that people still watch to this day, which is...
It's like good documentaries or, like, film adaptations of documentaries,
But that's
really good.
That's going to change. You know why?
Why?
Disney Plus. Disney Plus. You want it. Did you not
well,
see
if they end up buying everything like they're trying to, then yeah, I'm gonna have to get Disney Plus because that's gonna be the only thing that has streaming.
That's true. Like,
if they continue with their monopoly, then.
But I think they'll still keep this same kind of thing where if they do own everything, they'll still keep it pretty compartmentalized so that people can feed money to what they want to feed to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, imagine giving all your money to
like Disney's
Plus.
the parent company.
Yeah.
And like Fox has its own streaming, Disney has its own ESPN has its own streaming.
Yeah. So I think they'll still keep it that kind of service so that maybe
it's more profitable. Why not?
I mean, obviously, are you gonna get
Who's gonna stop us?
Are you gonna get Disney Plus? Did you not see that trailer for The Mandalorian? Did you not see that?
Yeah.
Were you excited or no?
No, because I hate Disney Star
Why
Wars.
are you? Oh wow,
I
dude!
hate Disney
End
Star
the podcast, dude.
Star Wars.
Bleep them out. Beep.
Star Wars should have ended in 1983. Everyone.
Why? Phantom Menace. The Phantom Menace. That was my okay. I unfortunately was brought up at a later time because my parents weren't really nerdy and stuff. But that was my introduction to Star Wars. Was the beginning of like the Phantom Menace and the Clone Wars and all that shit.
My introduction was I walked in on my dad watching The Return of the Jedi, and I don't know, 6, 7 years old maybe. It was like second or third grade.
And you really were entertained though, right?
Yeah, because it was I walked in when Darth Vader brought Luke to the Emperor.
Yeah.
And that was like, a pretty compelling part of that movie. One of the best scenes. Like the Emperor was great no matter what. He was great in the prequels.
Yeah.
He's an awesome character. So I walked in on Darth Vader and Luke confronting the Emperor and then all that. And then it would jump cut to this insane space battle with this cool black guy flying with this crazy alien dude.
That's sick.
Like, what the hell's going on? And then they cut to, the planet with like these bunch of Ewoks and the giant Wookiee Chewbacca going. It was kind of chaotic walking in on that. That was my introduction to Star Wars.
Nice.
The end of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, see, that's I'm not saying that's not a better experience, but that's cool. Like, it came in at the end of it, so you wanted to find out, right?
Yeah, and then I was like, this is really cool. And then my dad's like, wow, you like this? Like, let's watch it from the beginning. And we watched all the episodes, or all the the original trilogy before the special edition.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, and that's another thing too. Why did they have to make a special edition?
Because George Lucas is a hypocrite.
I love how they
and
made.
likes changing things, even though he said.
Yeah, I love how they made fun
doesn't.
of that on South Park. Remember that episode?
yeah, that's
the
great.
re-release.
Yeah,
And that's true, right?
yeah.
How many
And then
versions of Star
they
Wars?
re-released the first South Park episode.
Yeah.
I love how they buy into that joke too. Like they made fun of pre-order bonuses and video games, but then they did it with both of their video games.
That's true. They still have like content that you can buy off of it.
Yeah.
Like when you're playing.
Yeah, they have a phone game with microtransactions. Like they totally bought into this.
Oh man, that is
Like,
crazy.
there's so
too.
much South Park merchandise. Like they
Yeah. Are you ready for the next season?
yes.
It was announced next week? It's
Mhm.
coming out next week, I think. That's crazy. What do you think they're gonna do? What can they do?
I don't know because I still need to watch like the last 3 episodes of last season. Cause spoilers. Did you watch them?
Yeah.
Spoilers.
I'm doing it. Give me a second. Okay, go ahead.
I was really mad when they killed off Lucifer. When they killed Satan off.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't watch the rest of the season.
Oh dude. That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty sad. I was sad about that. Very moving for some reason.
But I mean, he was a pretty good character.
Yes. And Kyle was crying, and he got his wings, went to heaven. It was very beautiful.
God, I
It
need
was
to.
a beautiful send off, but damn, his death was brutal.
It was pretty bad. I don't know. We'll see what happens, right? Obviously, they're gonna stick with current topics, but maybe still tell some kind of deeper story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like South Park has always been that kind of show that can actually be like. I love what I think it was at around season 20 or episode 200 where they really started to put more emphasis on like the story from the past into their episodes. Like, I don't know if you remember the episode of Mega Barbara Streisand.
Yeah.
Like that, the way they built it up, they brought everybody back, like Scott.
Yeah, all the
Tenorman.
callbacks from the 200th episode.
Yeah, and it even after that, it just the writing was more about building a bigger story. I felt than actually just like the small one story pre-episode kind of thing. Because I mean,
they were complaining about that in season 15.
but I remember more of that. Like that was more iconic to me. Like, oh man, the going from episode to episode without an actual story arc.
At the end of the episode next week, everything's back to normal.
Yeah, or it's something else that doesn't have.
They actually complained about that in season 15 when Stan's parents got divorced for the second time.
Yeah, it's just all it's all the same shit.
Yeah. It's like it's chaos, it's just chaos building up, and it's gotten ridiculous, and everything just goes back to normal the next week. I'm tired of this. Or they had, was it Stan's mom say that at least she's tired of it, but clearly the writers were saying that, and they've been doing. What have they done since then? They've released 2 pretty damn good video games, a great musical. They started doing like overarching storylines throughout the seasons.
Yeah.
They changed the format of the show.
and the way that they run the show now too, it's like so much more. Like, dude, they can make episodes quicker than ever than they used to now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean,
Like, did you see that documentary?
Yeah.
Making an episode in a week.
6 days or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's
didn't
pretty.
know Bill Hader was a writer until I saw that.
That's sick. Yeah, that's so amazing. But then again, I mean, South Park has always been a great show. It's
Mhm.
always done so good in whatever it does.
Right. It took a while to get their footing with like their Kyle and Stan speeches at
Yeah.
the very end.
Yeah.
But they always made fun of everyone 360,
Yeah.
every point of view.
Especially the whole recent topic things. That's
And they make fun of things so well that like this side thinks it's about them or this side thinks it's about them, Like the one episode where they had that rock concert where Stan and that country guy, it was like right after 9/11,
Oh.
the Stairway to Heaven thing, I think.
yeah.
And they had like the rock and roll and country dude like rock off in the concert.
I'm a little bit country.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit rock and roll. I'm the muscle of America.
Yeah.
And I'm the heart and soul.
They had Alan Jackson. Where were you
Yeah.
when they built the stairway or ladder to heaven?
Yeah.
9/11, 9/11.
That's so sick, though. Like, I literally think you can watch South Park and pretty much see a progression of history.
Yeah, but like in episodes like that, the liberals think like, yeah, this is about us, completely ignoring like everything that's making fun of their side, while the conservatives completely spin that around like, oh, see, it shows how dumb liberals are, but
Right.
ignoring that it's showing how dumb they are too.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. They were really talented writers in the sense that it was like, it was making fun of both of the sides with actual humor to the joke. Like, it wasn't where it's just like, oh, we're just totally going with this. Again, that whole
Yeah.
episode literally did have two fucking sides divided in it. I love that shit. That was a good episode, too. Well, I guess we'll see what happens with the new South Park, what they're going to do. Hopefully, I'll probably try to rewatch the season. You should watch those last episodes.
Yeah, I should. I'm going to.
See what's going to happen. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, and now it's the election time again, too. They can start making fun of that.
Oh, my God.
Right? We talked about that when you were last time.
Yeah. I've been arguing with Republicans and Democrats on Facebook a lot, and I'm not expecting to change anyone's minds. I'm just trying to get better at arguing.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not expecting to change anyone's mind. I'm just trying to see from a different lens, see from someone else's perspective, talk to people that I disagree with, because I don't want to be in a bubble with a bunch of people that agree with me, surrounded by a bunch of yes men. And then you get radicalized because when you start hearing ideas that differ from you, they sound crazy because you're so isolated.
You automatically get pushed into a corner where they're just like, oh, no, he's not totally defending the left, so I'm automatically assuming he's this.
And so I want to argue with the opposition to see if there's any flaws in my argument.
Okay.
And see what I'm doing wrong, seeing what they're doing wrong, see how we can argue better. Civility's gone in arguing.
Especially
debating,
online.
Especially online, because you could be anonymous. Who the fuck cares?
Yeah, they could either take it to heart and go on in the same rant with you, or they're just going to...
Yeah, try to say the shit to people's faces.
Yeah, you can't. You really can't.
And, like, when's the last time someone changed your mind by yelling at you and calling you a dumbass? Like, that doesn't work.
Yeah. But yet, does it work when people read it, though?
It's so easy to... Well, it's so easy to do. On the internet, there's no context because you're just reading text.
Because here's the worst part.
There's no context.
The worst part is when you are arguing online, and so your argument is losing because of the other opposite side agreeing with the other argument. So say you leave a comment, and then the other person responds to your comment. That person's comment gets more likes than yours. So it makes it feel like, oh, no one's even agreeing with me or doesn't listen to me, where your point or whatever you're trying to bring up is actually more credible, and it actually can.
Right, but they have more likes.
Yeah, doesn't that bring some kind of disheartening to the argument?
It must be better in some way.
Doesn't that bring, because if you're trying to get better at arguing, does that bring some kind of like, what am I doing wrong? Or do you see the flaws that are going on in society?
It's definitely disingenuous.
I would feel like shit. Like, I'm just like, oh, I totally got him on this. And then all of a sudden at the bottom of that, they're like, oh, you little dick. And then all of a sudden.
Yeah. And then like arguing with that one friend I was talking about, she's like, everyone that replied to that, all her friends, I'm assuming, that replied to that. I don't know who they are. I'm assuming they're her friends.
Right.
But
they came to her rescue.
But it was what, at least 3 people just bombarding me with all this, and just turns into an inquisition. It doesn't turn into a debate or an argument anymore. I was hostile. I did say, "Did you even read this article?"
That's
and
true.
You could take that out of context. I didn't mean to. I was just simply asking, like, did you read this? Like, what you're saying is preposterous according to the article you just posted.
Yeah, see, that's true too. Is like some people read just headlines, and then by that headline they assume what's going to happen, so they talk or tweet about it or whatever,
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden someone like you will just be like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god, do you see what the fuck you just talked
and
about?"
then cognitive dissonance is running rampant. It's seemingly impossible to change people's minds because you provide them with evidence, and they react emotionally, not rationally. So they double down on their beliefs instead of coming to like, well, maybe I'm wrong because like there's all these stats, there's all these facts, kind of undermining what I'm saying.
So it's more like like you said, an emotional kind of thing. So like if you felt like if you're wrong, it's more beating down on the soul or beating down on your personality, or just like, oh man, I hate being wrong because it makes me feel like nobody's listening or that I'm not portraying myself correctly, and then all of a sudden you just stop
Yeah,
or you just
because
don't do it.
Yeah, that's the problem with believing in things instead of accepting truths, accepting facts.
Yeah.
You get emotional because it's a belief.
What?
It exists because you want it to exist.
Yeah, that's true. It's hard. I guess you could say it's hard though for people to really, if we're in the sense of people joining sides, like if more people believe in that nonsense, then you'll automatically try to believe it right away because you feel like the group or the majority that you are with.
Oh yeah, with the tribalism is still in
Exactly,
our
yeah.
primitive lizard brains.
Yeah.
Like we don't want to be left out.
So even if they are portraying it in a bad way,
Like being shunned from society back in the day was a death sentence.
yeah, people were yes. So you would have to do what they said or wanted to do what went
Yeah.
on.
Or they kicked you out. You're on your own in the wilderness.
So we still have that kind of,
Back in the day, you're fucked.
but that's in every sense, right? So like in this sense, we have the tribe mentality to actually question and go look for it and try to find the answers to it. Where there's the other tribe mentality where they're just like, oh, well, I'll just listen to what this person says.
Yeah, because this is my team, and I need to side with them for whatever reason.
There's too much separation in that kind of sense.
And there's no nuance. It's black or white. You're either a Democrat or Republican. There's no in between. You can't be a gun-loving liberal. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, that's so
You
hilarious.
can't be a liberal that questions tax usage. It's
There are little things like that.
right.
Where it's just like,
Right. You can't be an atheist conservative. It's
there's no middle ground that people agree with. They think that's preposterous. They're like, oh, you're just trying to troll at this point if you're doing something like that.
And then I've disagreed with Democrats recently and questioned like what the Democratic Party's doing, and they're like, "Oh, so you're a Trump supporter now?" No.
Oh man.
I hate both parties right now. I'm a progressive liberal that completely despises the Democratic Party right now.
Of what's going on.
Yes, because all this moderate centrism, it doesn't work. As in my eyes, I don't like it in my eyes because I'm a progressive liberal. See, when you're far left and you're negotiating and debating with the far right, at least with legislation, you kind of have to move towards the middle to find an agreement. That's how negotiating works, right?
Yeah.
So when you're far left and negotiate towards the right, you stay to the left. When you're a Democrat that's a moderate centrist and you negotiate with Republicans, you're most of the time forced to move right to get them to agree with you. So your policies become Republican fucking policies.
Yeah, okay. So they end up changing in general.
Yes. If you vote for a moderate centrist Democrat, why don't you just vote Republican?
There you go.
Hey, Google Obama admits he's a Republican.
There you go.
Check that video out.
Really?
Yes.
But
He admits himself he's in any other era pretty much.
that was
Well, he says in the 1980s at least he'd be considered a Republican,
okay.
which is true. You look at his policies, it's true. Obamacare is basically a carbon copy of Romneycare,
Okay.
which is a Republican bill. So all the Republicans that are Obamacare haters, it doesn't make sense. You're hating on Republican policies. See, when you take Republican policies and put that giant D next to it, conservatives don't like it all of a sudden.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. You're just like, you're giving it another face. And so they're like, oh, no,
It's the opposition, so it must be bad. Yep, that one.
Okay. So unfortunately, we still don't have audio yet. We haven't figured out.
Yeah, the audio's really low on that video anyways. But in this video, Obama, a more moderate Republican than socialist, that's the title of the video at least, he admits he's a moderate Republican.
And
Or at least the way he spins it is, if I ran in the 1980s, I'd be considered a Republican.
And just because of the ideas.
Yeah, his policies.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't appear as a moderate centrist at first because in 2008, Hillary ran as one, so everyone looked, far left that didn't go along with her policies, back in 2008. But then he had a supermajority, a filibuster-proof Senate when he first got into office in 2008 and did nothing with it.
So you think that could happen in this election that's coming up? Is that there will be a centrist left?
Yeah, if they pick Joe Biden, Trump's going to win again. If they pick Kamala Harris, Trump's going to win again.
Okay.
Elizabeth Warren is basically it's turned into a copy of Bernie Sanders, his policies. So it doesn't even make sense why she's running. There's already
okay.
Yeah. Your platform is already running.
There's already he's already there.
And if you truly believe this, why didn't you endorse Bernie Sanders back in 2016
where it mattered?
When it could have made a difference.
Yeah.
She's so full of shit.
I like that example though.
At one of the debates, Elizabeth Warren was asked, "What's the biggest threat to national security?" She said Donald Trump. If that was true, if she truly believed that, she wouldn't have voted to increase his military budget. Okay, she's bullshitting us. I don't trust her.
Yeah, I can tell. And that's a game of politics, right? They have one kind of side of the story where they're telling you one thing, but then end up funding different policies and stuff where they're just like, oh, well, we need more money in this aspect. Mm-hmm. Well, it's actually going to the military and stuff, if you noticed.
Yeah. And when I suggested on that Facebook argument to lower the military budget, they automatically defended soldiers like, no, we need to give them more money. And it's like, I never said that. I didn't say that. I agree with you. We need to pay them more. We need to pay everyone more, that's making low wages like us, and we need to treat them better while they're serving and after they're serving,
Yeah,
take them out of these pointless wars.
With cutting the expenses.
Pointless wars.
Yeah, the expenses. That's what they don't get. Is like once they hear cutting military expenses, they
think it's a budget cut.
Yeah. Oh no.
They think I'm trying to take money out of soldiers' pockets.
You're firing 50,000 soldiers?
I'm trying to I want these wars to end. I want all these defense contracts to go away. I want Lockheed and Martin, that weapons manufacturer, I want them to stop making money off of all these bullshit wars. I want us to stop stealing resources from poor countries that are no threat to us.
So, see, that's the crooked side to why we're in all these countries. But what about
They tell us it's freedom and we're fighting terrorism. Like, we've been bombing Afghanistan for 18 years. If someone was bombing your country for 18 years, wouldn't you be pissed? Wouldn't you want to retaliate?
That would be.
We're creating terrorists.
That's true. That's very true. I mean, you see it all the time here too. We have domestic terrorists where we're creating that shit just be the way that they get treated.
Like, look at all the countries we've bombed over the past 18 years. How have any of them gotten better? How have our lives gotten better? Like, we wasted trillions on those wars. Imagine if we invested in that in our citizens, all that in our citizens over the past 18 years.
Or other advances in like technology or sciences and
anything that helps people instead of killing them.
I don't know, man. We're getting Space Force. The Space Force, dude.
Well, it's
military.
It all depends how that's utilized.
No, it's going to be military in space.
Of course it is.
Military in space.
Of course it is. That's what's fueled human exploration all this time. The moon race of the 60s, the space race of the 60s, that was like the government benefited off of that because of spy satellites. That's the main reason they wanted them.
Yeah. But that's such a
and then like it was nationalism, pride. How could the Soviets
do it before us?
And they kicked our ass until we stepped foot on the moon. They kicked our ass in the space race until we got to the moon, and then we decided it's over.
Yeah. Which we really haven't.
It's like we finally won and took our ball and went home.
That's it. Yeah, this is our toy now. That's crazy. But then, dude, yeah, I don't know. It's just fucking. We'll see what happens now with us going to space. Like, it's not a top priority, but
Like cleaning up space junk is a priority, but
I love that aspect
I
too.
don't know how that's going to happen.
I remember Neil deGrasse Tyson
I don't know how
was
that's
like,
going to be feasible.
that's more of a problem up there is space trash.
Space junk and near Earth objects that could strike us.
Yeah, like we have shit that passes us all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're more concerned with making sure that China doesn't steal our secrets or
Right.
having a extensive military in places not
Right,
needed.
and like when you have a satellite on the Earth, let's pretend this is the Earth. If you have a satellite pointing up, you just have this small strip, this small window looking at this portion of the sky while the Earth's moving,
Yeah.
So we have a very small window of this giant, space around us, giant universe around us, 360 universe all around. It could come from anywhere seemingly.
Yeah.
So, and then if we have like one satellite looking towards here, it's just one little window.
It's like
so it's really hard to monitor this
The
from a 360 perspective.
I get what you're saying.
From a 3D perspective.
You can't see everything around it because even our point of vision is just still pretty narrow.
Right.
It's cool. Just leave it.
Well, sorry, Kenny.
We tried. He's dead. He died.
Yes.
But
the Earth is massive, so
that's why that guy.
So there needs to be like a worldwide effort to really monitor these things.
Do you think something severe can happen within our time that changes Earth?
Totally, a football field-sized object just passed us the other day,
And that's something that can really devastate the Earth.
Mm-hmm. Depends on where it hits.
Explain.
Like if it hits the ocean, it'll just cause like a tidal wave. It might fuck up some cities, but we'd probably have some warning. If it strikes a city, it's like a bomb hitting a city. They're fucked.
So it'll do a
But
massive
like, there's
amount.
only the Earth's surface is 70% water, and how much of that is inhabited by large cities? Like it's a small probability of being struck directly, but it can happen.
Okay.
Like that famous one in Russia a few years ago, that could have fucked up a lot of people.
See, I've never even heard of all these famous encounters or like actual objects that have passed us. That is like
Yeah, there was an object that passed in like Russia or Siberia a few years ago, and it exploded in the atmosphere,
damn,
shattered a bunch of like windows and shit.
holy shit.
Yeah.
So the threat, the inner space threat.
So yeah, it matters how big it is, what it's made of, how dense it is. If it's made of metal, that's gonna be super dense, and that's gonna be the velocity is gonna be so much worse because the density is so much higher.
Yeah. So
compared to like a rock.
So the impact will be, like you said, if it's like some kind of metal that's hurtling through space, is more dangerous than some kind of like.
Yeah, because density factors in too.
Okay, damn.
And if it's dense, it's less likely to break up in the atmosphere, so it's going to be more likely be a bigger mass when it actually strikes.
Damn.
If it's a weak rock, it'll probably break up.
That's crazy.
Or at least more likely to.
The threat of space is real.
Yeah. And that's why Armageddon, remember the movie Armageddon?
Yeah.
Breaking that in half was one of the worst things you can do because you just made a bunch of giant, tiny bombs instead of just one massive one.
That are just going to hit everywhere.
Yes.
So what? Oh yeah, you would have to move it, right? Kind of make
You
it
would
go
have to move
on
it.
some kind of different course.
Yeah.
So it goes somewhere else.
Yeah, blowing it up is going to be disastrous.
Yeah. That's so crazy.
You have to redirect the course.
Man. This just goes all in full circle to just throw me off and just.
And you have to be able to see it at first. Like if light doesn't shine on it correctly, you won't be able to see it.
Like even from like, so if it was coming from a certain angle, like you said, we have this only certain point of vision. We wouldn't even see it like if it's like right there on the side.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just has to have that.
Yeah,
Perfect.
unless we heavily invest in all this, like it's really hard to detect these things.
It's just like looking out in the night right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh shit.
Yeah. The other day at work, I saw the International Space Station zoom by. It was pretty cool.
Really?
Completely clear sky. Yeah.
How did that look?
It's pretty bright. It looks like a planet. It looks like Venus or Mars, except it's moving, fairly fast because it's in low Earth orbit.
Okay.
So it zips by the sky, in like 10, 15 minutes.
Nice. And it was just one of those nights where you're just like,
Mhm.
holy shit, what is that?
Yeah, I was like, like that's. I've been watching Mars because I'm a security guard and I work nights. So I've been watching the night sky over the past 6 months.
Yeah.
So I've been watching Mars move, and I saw Mars, but then I saw this other, Mars-looking thing, another bright planet-looking thing in the sky, and it was moving fairly fast. I was like, what the fuck? Oh wait, that's a space station. That's right.
Oh, okay. So once you saw, kind of got what it
Yeah,
was.
at first I was like, oh no, because I've seen it before.
Okay, so if you saw something like that, not something like, so you're a little more educated and know a little bit more about space, but say if somebody else was just looking up in the sky and saw that UFO.
Yep.
UFO encounter
Hmm.
already.
But that's just a vague term. It's unidentified flying object.
Well,
it could be anything.
Did you recently see that the United States, the U.S. Navy just released that that UFOs are real?
Hmm.
Yeah, what the fuck?
But that's a vague term. It's unidentified flying object.
But they admit that it's real, Kevin.
But
it's real.
But it's anomalies in space they can't explain yet.
And that can be anything, right?
Yes.
So that can
it's
be
an object in space that's unidentified. It can literally be anything.
Dude, but they acknowledge it now.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. Because they were kind of the whole like, oh, you're just seeing things, or oh, that's a stupid recording. That's not
Weather
real.
balloon.
Yeah, or it's not
out in
real.
space, dude.
So now at least they say they don't know either.
Mhm.
So that makes it more. I don't know. Now there has to be aliens. Why was there not be aliens?
But where are they? Wouldn't we see them by now? If there were spaceships zipping across the galaxy, wouldn't we see something, propulsion of some sort, detect their engine, something?
Well, you know why? It's because like if all the aliens that pretty much pass through space that are just like UFOs flying through are just a bunch of teenagers that just got a car. So they're just like zipping through a bad neighborhood. There's like, dude, let's go check out Earth right away, guys. So they zip right through Earth and then they leave because
Right.
nobody stops here because they know how fucking
Right.
shitty this
They're
place
still
is.
a class 0 planet.
Yeah, they know. They're like, hey guys, let's go check it out. We're just gonna pass by though. So they always pass by, and that's why we have UFOs that are flying around. But they're just fucking teenagers, alien teenagers.
And they're like parents, BMWs.
Yeah, exactly. These badass cars or these badass unidentified flying objects. It's an idea.
Pressing the girls at school.
Yeah, exactly. Don't you want to come on a ride with me? We'll go to the Milky Way galaxy. They got some fucked up shit there. That's a good joke, right? Yeah. I've been working.
I don't know, Well, go ahead.
Yeah, that's something that I've been thinking about too, is because like there's so many thoughts of UFOs, but
And there's so many stars, and we're finding planets around like every star we study heavily. So there's probably planets all over, orbiting all those stars. Statistically, there has to be something, but if they become spacefaring, where the fuck are they?
who knows?
Where are they? Maybe we're the most advanced things. Maybe it's hard to get to this point. It took, 4 billion years of evolution to get to this?
You don't think that? Well, see, that's
And it
what
might have occurred quicker if it wasn't for mass extinctions.
I think it's.
And, this is the only planet that has life that we know of, so we can't, we have no barometer for comparison.
That's what I'm saying is like they're so vague out there, and it's so much that we just don't know if this life, this is my theory, is I honestly believe that there is a human-like planet that's just more advanced than us. They look like us, they're human-like, but they're just so far away in the galaxy that they can't get to us. I think it was one of the Fermi paradox where even though they try to travel to us, it's still expanding, so they will never get to us. There's no way that they'll ever get to us. I mean, that makes some sense depending on how big and how we're talking about the universe size.
Right.
But then again, that throws me off and thinking of fucking Rick and Morty, where we're just part of multiple universes that are happening right now. It's like you can think of this giant universe with all these galaxies and everything going on, but just one level up higher is another different universe on a different plane that's going on with millions of other things. I don't know. It blows me away. That shit blows me away. Like, what the fuck? Like, how do we not know anything about life anymore? Where we used to when we were like going through history. Like, we had this fucking. We pretty much came from the gods. We have this one anomaly that happened, and now this is the story that we follow. But now that we've grown through history and gotten more advanced and stuff,
we're the center of the universe.
The story is just intense now. Like, how do people sleep? Like,
Right.
oh my god.
That little rant reminds me of this YouTube video called Optimistic Nihilism, and it's basically talking about that, like when the first humans finally gained consciousness, we were able to understand and the world around us, communicate with each other about it. We thought we were special. We thought this place was made for us. The sun is watching over us, warming us, providing the sun and the earth is providing everything we want, and we're the center of the universe. But then as we gain knowledge of the universe around us, it turns out the universe is fucking massive. And it's so massive, it's just this universe alone makes us feel insignificant.
Yeah.
And then you throw in multiverses.
See again that.
This universe alone makes me feel insignificant.
And just learning about sciences and stuff has been blowing me away
and
too.
The universe is so massive, but then cells, microscopic shit, and particles are so small. Like this.
Like literally,
this world is insane.
Yeah, inside. I love to see it this way. It's like literally inside of our body is another universe.
Right.
Another universe is going on right now inside of our body that has multiple things that are just happening that are just like amazing. Like, oh my god. Recently, Joe Rogan had this guy named Sean Carroll on his podcast, and he's pretty cool, cosmologist, but he also works with quantum theory and stuff. And I've been learning more about quantum mechanics and stuff, and that shit blows me away too. Like, just right now, quantum mechanics says that you looking at something changes when you're not observing it. So right now, I'm not looking at you. You could be something fucking different. Totally fucking.
I could be doing anything. I could be anywhere.
Anything.
In any position.
It blows my mind that shit happened. Like,
yeah, the science of particle probability. It's weird.
And that's happening in our bodies right now. So how is that not something that can happen in life? Like,
and then when you look at protons, neutrons, electrons, it's 99% open space.
Yeah, exactly.
We're mainly made out of nothing, and it's just these weird particles with their electric charges, and the way they interact with other particles
that are arranged in a certain way
is the reason for all of this.
Exactly. I love that example. Is that like literally my beginning core of what I start with is no different than this phone. Like literally, it's just the way that those molecules are arranged in a certain order. That's why this phone looks like this, and that's why I look how I am. Is because they put that code in a certain way, and that blows me away. Is because like, what if? I mean, this is going into spiritual hippie shit, but what if you're able to access this certain thing in your mind where you can manipulate or understand the molecules more? We kind of do. I mean, we know that we.
It's reminded me of that movie Limitless.
Imagine
when Bradley Cooper like takes that pill and all of a sudden he could use 100% of his brain.
Yeah. But that's just. I mean, it's not like he's gonna look at this.
But like what you're talking about is like plugging into something and knowing the knowledge of the universe,
or just knowing everything,
like getting a Matrix download.
Kind of, but that's happening already. Like, have you heard of the Neuralinks? Okay, so Elon Musk just released his newest like thing that he's working on called Neuralinks, which is like a little microchip that goes like in the back of your head, and it has like 1,000 hair-like follicles that go into your brain. And they actually send out electric charges that stimulate the brain in certain parts, and it's connected to your cell phone. He just released it. It hasn't gone into human testing yet, but the prototype is out already. Literally. Bring up a picture of the Neuralinks.
Like that's really cool.
It's amazing.
But that sounds terrifying.
No, it's amazing.
It's hooked up to your phone. You know how easy it is to hack those things?
Yeah, but okay, here's the example though. It's so easy to hack it, but who's gonna do it? We all have computers and PlayStations and so much shit that's hackable, but who hacks it? Who comes in our stuff and
But
actually
those
hacks
things
it?
aren't connected to our brains.
Not yet. And how is it not connected to your brain?
Not
You're
yet.
constantly.
They're trying to shove VR down our throat again.
Yeah, you're constantly playing it, so it feels like if you were connected to it, like, I mean, it's there. I mean, I just don't feel it's going to be so widely massively spread. Everyone's going to have it, so why would you hack everybody? You would only hack certain people. Your probability of getting hacked is just like now.
We're not like the Borg Collective. We're not all going to be connected to each other's minds.
Yeah, that picture. Open up that one. That's what it looks like.
We're not the Borg Collective.
That's exactly what it looks like. It's that thing will go in the back of your ear, and then all of those hair follicles go implanted in your brain. Right now.
So what's external? The part by your ear?
Yeah.
And the wires are in your brain there?
You kind of can see the wires, but they're going to be so thin they're like your hair follicles. So literally they'll kind of brush in and kind of look like your hair.
Okay.
But so what it's mostly going to be used for right now is for people with mental disabilities and like stuff that are having problems activating certain parts of the brain, like speech, oh,
that's cool.
Like, muscle memory, getting be able to.
Yeah, I could get behind that.
Paraplegic, stuff like that.
But it's just when you start talking about stuff like that, people's brains automatically go to like alarmist sci-fi.
Well, that's just the beginning stages.
Bad science fiction.
Because he wants
bad science fiction scenarios.
He literally wants to make it so that you don't have to look at your phone for certain objects. Like, say you are Googling, like say you're driving and you need to find the location of a place, you can think of it and you would know where you're going instead of having to type it in and actually.
And then you can just tell your car to drive there.
Yeah, or tell your car to take you there.
I'm gonna take a nap, so. Drive me there, car.
See? Oh, man, that's beautiful. I didn't even think of that far into it, but that's amazing. That I honestly feel like if cars drive themselves, we don't even need cars anymore. Like, all I have to do is just be like, it'd be like Uber, but it's an electric car, a robot car. So we'd always just be like, oh, fuck, I got to go to the store. Do. And then you just get in it, drive off. That car will leave. And then when you're done at the store, you're like, all right, I need to go back home. Do. And then there's another car. It's just that's the funny thing about the way it's going to work too. There'll be generic cars where everyone's just going to have like a shitty ass fucking Honda. Or there's going to
goddamn commie. Everyone's going to have the same shitty Honda or with robot drivers.
Yeah, or you can upgrade. You can be like, oh, I don't mind paying an extra $15 to get that Escalade, or I don't mind paying an extra $20 to get the Hummer.
Like a public option shitty Honda.
Yeah, kind of like Uber XL and stuff. You know how you can pick from different Uber styles? There you go. They'll have that for robot cars.
Uber XL, so you can have like Pimp My Ride style, like
you want to be picked
like
up
drivers in Escalades.
Yeah,
and shit.
Exactly. You want to be picked up in a generic car, or do you want to be picked up in the XL car, the better car?
Well, I'm using Uber. People already know I'm poor because I don't have a car.
It's not gonna right? It doesn't matter what car you pick me up in.
I know you don't have a car.
You can tell people.
Maybe that's how you can afford the XL Uber.
That's true. Yeah, exactly. So you save more money. It works.
That's funny.
But yeah, dude, Neuralinks. What the fuck? That's another thing.
There's potential for bad stuff there, but it's really interesting. Especially the medical aspects behind it, you were saying.
Yeah, I'm more into the whole. I'm very optimistic going into the future, so I really think a lot of this stuff will benefit us a lot. But then again, there could be this negative aspect where we get hacked, or some
right.
Dude, imagine.
Or there could be this human rights activist or activism going on saying, like, oh, we don't need to change our brains. What's wrong with us? Because Iceland, they famously, I saw this clickbait article on Iceland and how they have like little to no Down syndrome births anymore. And that's what the article said. So I clicked on the article and looked on it. It's like, well, they abort. They do prenatal tests to find out if it is, and if it is, they abort it.
Okay.
So then, like, there's like a United States Down syndrome advocacy group saying, like, oh, like, what's wrong with us? Why do we need to be changed? You know? So, like, stuff like that could happen with those potential medical advances,
But
I don't want to. I'm deaf. I've always been deaf. This is me. This is how I am. This is how I've grown up. I don't want to learn to listen, hear.
And then
I've gone 30 plus years without hearing. This is
why
gonna
do I
be-
want to hear it
Yeah.
now? Yeah. That's true too. There are those aspects too where it's just like,
And like, there's nothing wrong with that, you know. I'm not bashing that or anything. It's just like my mind always goes. I'm a pessimist,
no, I get it.
so like I always think about the negative aspects of
That-
everything.
That makes sense though, because there are going to be those people where they're just like, because there's genetic testing, not genetic testing, but there's genetic manipulation in the
Yeah.
fetus stuff.
What's
now.
wrong with being blind? You know, you're saying I'm wrong.
Or right from the beginning, like your kid has a defect. He's going to come out a little bit, you know, special. Do you want us to fix it right now, or do you want your kid to be special? In some sense, they're going to go with like, I want it to be God's natural gift. I want it to be the
Or
way
it's
it
like,
should be.
you know, I don't think I could really handle something like that, and then other people bash you for not going down that route.
Exactly. It's oh man,
It's tough, man.
the future is going to be really fucking.
A friend of
sketchy.
mine has a special needs son, and like the stuff that kid has gone through,
It's hard,
it's hard.
and you can see it too. And it's not bashing on him, but it's giving him like, you know, the dude. He's did his best. He's doing his best. Like that's trying really hard. I mean, that's on a personal opinion. Like if you wanted to change that or something, but if somebody knew that that aspect was going to help them in life, where it's like, oh, if you can fix my kid before he comes out, then I would be more than happy to. I'm pretty sure.
And like, you know,
How do
from
more-
a scientific perspective, they're genetic defects
Yeah,
in most cases.
Yeah,
At least,
exactly.
you know, what we're talking about at least.
Yeah, because we're not talking about the whole like, oh, my kid's gonna come out with like brown eyes or
Right.
something. Who cares?
If-
That
if
at that
we,
point,
if we go down the road of gene editing, like we're probably gonna want to eliminate all these defects.
yeah, like, you know, whatever, like
And like, you know,
webbed feet.
and like, you know, I don't feel comfortable bashing someone that wants to go through that or doesn't want to go through raising a special needs kid. I understand both perspectives. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not going to judge anyone for making that choice. That's not my choice. It's not my kid. You know,
And that's the beauty of the centered life is like you know the benefits and not from that. Like, oh, if you're really that kind of a person that knows about the hardships of growing up with special needs and you don't want your kid to grow up that way, by all means go for it. Or in the other aspect where like you should never change what a child becomes or what it is going to come out as, deal with it that way, because you understand both of them, like literally in a spiritual or in a like moral kind of way. Like it's all the same. Like you can understand this person's perspective compared to this person's perspective.
yeah.
That's and
Yeah,
going
like
back to
we're all individuals. We don't know why people do the things they do. We don't need to know.
and going back
It's okay with not understanding people's behaviors.
to the whole politics thing. That's what it is. It's just like,
It's okay to disagree.
yeah, and to be centered. Like, okay, I get that you have your certain policies and you have your certain policies. Like, I'm gonna sound like an asshole or a dick or whatever, but abortion should be the choice. Like, if you don't want to get an abortion, then don't get it. Or if you do want abortion, get it. That's your choice. That would be the thing you
Yeah.
want. Don't outlaw it for people that actually might benefit from getting abortions. Like,
Right.
what? You see that's
And like, why are you forcing people to have kids that they don't want?
that's true
And
too.
I never understood that aspect of it. It's God's choice. It's God's decision. It's God's plan. And why do I have free will to undermine His so-called plan?
That's
But if I can't undermine it, because whatever happens, it's all part of His plan, right?
right. Yeah,
Why have free will to begin with?
that's a good example. I've never thought of it that way, but like literally, if I'm following God's plan, then why do I have a leeway to stop something? Like, wouldn't abortions be part of God's plan too? If that's invented, if that
Oh,
came
no,
out,
He's just testing us to see if we're sin free or all this other stuff. But then we can get forgiven right before we die. It doesn't make any sense.
it's some. I mean, oh
Like,
my God.
I understand like the moral stories behind what the passages are trying to say, Bible verses and all that. But if you take all these things literally, you know, and then cherry pick what you want, avoid, you know, ignoring that slavery was totally cool with the Bible. I don't know know if it was cool with Old Testament or New Testament. I don't know anything about the Christian Bible. I don't want to know. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
There's enough atheists out there undermining and dissecting that book. I don't want to waste my brain power on that. I'd rather learn about science.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great example. Is like there's so many stories that
I'm
are
fine
told
with being willfully ignorant here
in that
in that sense.
that category. Well, Kevin, with that being said, we gotta go find Jesus. We're sinners. Just kidding. That was fun. We hit like an hour and a half. So
Oh, really? That went quick.
yeah, it was fun. Well, Kevin,
Oh,
let them know where they can get a hold of
we
you.
forgot about Lords of Chaos.
I know. Well, we can still talk. We have fucking time. We ain't doing this shit.
Like,
Okay.
Lords of Chaos.
So first of all, I saw the movie, and let me tell you, it was actually kind of okay. The story was cool. The music was all right, but like it said, it was based off of lies and some
Right.
truth.
Right.
So like those little
It was a book originally.
okay.
Like 10 years ago, it was released, and then the book was released, and they've been trying to make a movie ever since. And like people like Varg and the members of Dark Throne and members of Mayhem, they all hated the book. So like until documentaries like Until the Light Takes Us and other ones, I don't remember the names of the other ones. But
True
if you
Norwegian
like,
black.
yeah, just search black metal documentaries.
Yeah.
But that's why Until the Light Takes Us, that's why all these documentaries were created, to retaliate
Against the book.
against the book with all these lies, according to them, according to Dark Throne, Burzum, Mayhem, the people that were there and involved.
That were part of the
That
actual
were
story.
part of the actual story. And the book didn't interview any of those people.
So who wrote the book again?
I don't know.
Look
I just know the guy who directed it, I don't know if he wrote it too. The guy who directed it used to be in Bathory.
Yeah, I don't think he wrote it. I don't think so.
No, he directed it. He
Yeah.
became like a music video director after Bathory.
Yeah.
And he's still trying to ride on the Bathory success, even though he hasn't played drums for them since like 1985.
But he was featured on some of the records, right?
I think the first one,
The first one.
because there was a 3-member piece at the very beginning, and then he stopped playing live and got rid of them for whatever reason, or they left, and it was just Corthon after that, one-man band
Okay.
after the first or second album, 1985-ish.
Angel, look up who wrote Until the Light Takes Us, the book.
No, Lords of Chaos.
The Lords of Chaos, the book, right? The
Yes,
book is
the
called
book.
Lords of Chaos.
Yes.
And then that's why they made Until the Light Takes
And,
Us.
yeah, they decided to make the Hollywood movie based on the most inaccurate version of the story.
That's so, I guess, too, though, it has the most appeal to it,
Right.
obviously.
And as I said last week at the open mic thing, they did what they sought out to do. They succeeded. They made an entertaining movie. Doesn't mean it's accurate.
I can't say his last name.
Michael Moynihan and Diedrich Soderlund.
Soderlund.
Yeah.
You should look up if any of those guys played in any bands. Just click on him. Some bio should come up or whatever.
American musician.
Journalist.
Journalist.
Oh, great. You already know at this point is best known for co-writing Lords of Chaos.
Right.
Founder of music group Blood
So,
Axis.
anyways, it was an entertaining movie, you know. And I imagine if you're not familiar with the story, it'd be entertaining. You'd probably enjoy it.
Yeah.
But if you do know the details of the story, it's like, wow, this is kind of inaccurate. The girlfriend is completely made up, which the director admits. When you look into the background info, you know, the production of the movie, no one was interviewed in the inner circle, Dark Throne, Burzum, Mayhem. All 3 bands said to, when they were asked to use their music, all of them said to go fuck themselves, but Mayhem eventually did it for some reason.
Yeah.
I think they had to re-record those Mayhem songs for the movie.
Mayhem did? Or a band that just recorded their music?
Sure. I'm not sure. I just know the Mayhem songs were re-recorded for that.
Okay. I can see that another band recorded their music
Yeah,
to play on the movie.
yeah. It's either the either Euronymous' family convinced Mayhem to do it, or Mayhem finally accepted a check high enough. I don't know why they said you could use the music after they told him to fuck off at first.
I wonder, yeah, how did that go about? Like, fuck, yeah, they didn't have because if they had to get from both, right? Mayhem's family or Euronymous.
I don't know who owns the rights to the music. They might have just had to ask the record label, and then the record label asked the musicians. The musicians told him no. You know, Burzum owns all his stuff, so
So
they didn't have to ask a record label. They had to ask him.
And he said, yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
no.
And I don't know how Dark Throne is, but they were able to tell him to fuck off too.
Okay. It probably was a money kind of thing then. I think they just kind of suckered Mayhem into it. Or at least somebody that owns their
They're
music.
the one that did the world tours. Dark Throne and Burzum didn't.
Yeah.
I heard that the singer of Dark Throne, in an interview, Nocturnal Culto is his name, in an interview he revealed that Wackenfest, or some type of European festival, offered Dark Throne to headline for like 100,000, 250,000, like 6 figures.
And he did. They denied
And
it.
they denied it.
That's crazy.
They turned it down. They don't want to play live. They don't give a shit about money. I think they both have like careers. Like, they don't rely on music sales for a living.
They do other things.
Yeah.
I can see
Fenris
that.
has a full-time job, I believe.
Damn. So that's so crazy. That again, that which blows me away too is that they have such a love for the music that there is no like commercialism or nothing that really feeds them to be famous.
Yeah, and every time they have a new record deal, contract negotiations, they tell them, we're not going to change our sound. We're not going to change our audio quality. It's going to remain this terrible. And it was so hard to find record deals in the beginning, but then once black metal exploded in the mid-90s,
It became like there's even
that's their thing.
Yeah, there's record labels now that are just dedicated to this kind of sound.
Yeah, Fenris in an interview complained about that. It was like after 1994, it was like if you played black metal and you were from Norway, it's like here's a fucking record deal. They're just handing them out like nothing because it was
this is
the
popular.
hot thing.
Yeah, it was a cool thing to do in Norway. The black metal bands. That's how people.
Yeah, because of all that controversy, the Norwegian black metal bands were the cream of the crop.
That's crazy to think about too, because like in America, you wouldn't really be able to make it as a black metal band, like at that time.
No, American black metal in the '90s was almost non-existent. There's Absu, ABSU. They've been around for a while.
Absu?
Absu, they're from Texas.
What?
Yeah, they're really good.
Really? I have to check that out.
They were around for a while, and I really only followed like the symphonic black metal. I don't really know the old school black metal American bands too well. But there's a new wave, Death Heaven, Noctimistium.
That's happening right now?
Yeah, American black metal. What else is there? Sirius, but they're kind of hard to find. They're a one-man band.
So it's not. It wasn't a thing then. Well, besides that one band.
It's trying, but it's kind of weird.
That's so.
Death Heaven's kind of weird, and like the old school guys aren't liking it too much.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't think so.
There's a lot of hate.
It makes no sense.
Kind of reminds me of Ghost.
You think so?
Yeah, they're kind of the Ghost
of the black metal.
Black metal, at least the way they're treated.
Well, they do get a lot of shit. Like Ghost, I don't know. Ghost is pretty sick, but they do get a lot of shit for their old, like hard rock kind of music style. I don't know. Do you know a little bit about Ghost? Their whole lure and stuff. They have like this whole story of how like they go through like singers as like apprentices and stuff.
Yeah, they're on like the fourth.
Yeah, it's weird.
Incantation of the singer, but it's still the same guy.
Yeah, but it's just like that's the different form of him.
Yeah, different characters, personas.
Yeah. It's so weird.
It is.
But
I don't mind bands like that being successful because they pump their money and success back into the production quality. Their live shows are a lot of fun.
Really?
Yes.
I can imagine.
And they're getting more and more theatrical. Reminds me a lot of King Diamond with their theatrics on stage.
Nice, like pyros and just like a bunch of shit that's everywhere. Because
provocative, anti-religious.
Because recently
imagery,
the two, I want to say two, but recently the king of stage shows was just here. Kiss.
Oh,
But they were here. They were here with their amazing show that everybody went crazy for.
right. With their like $200 meet and greet
Yeah.
packages.
Dude, how do you think they pay for that show?
Right.
Dude, but the show, because my friend Alejandro went, and he just like, it was just an amazing show, the best pyrotechnics. He even did this whole fucking, I don't know, like a bungee cord kind of thing where he went to the middle of the lawn, played guitar, and came back. It was like,
That's cool.
yeah, it was like an amazing show. But that's that production value that they put into it. And then the next, like a week later, you know who had to try to top it? It was Iron Maiden. That Iron Maiden show is
That's
just
right.
as good too.
Like
Like,
that, like on Thursday.
yeah, those guys have an amazing fucking stage show. Like, oh my god,
Yeah, I saw them 2 years ago.
Really?
I think that's the last time they came.
at the amphitheater,
Yes, it
And-
was a lot of fun.
right? It's like it's an amazing stage show,
Played for like 2 hours.
and you get to see so much. Like they do. Not only are they playing a lot of their hits, those hits have so much theme to them that everything changes. Like,
Right. Yeah, like the singer does a bunch of costume changes. It's really
Yeah.
cool. And I never really watched them live, so I was curious, like how is the three guitars thing gonna work out? And all three of them were wailing on the solos.
Yeah, they're
I
badass.
was like, well, who's gonna play the solos? Oh, all of them are gonna play. So awesome.
Yeah, they're pretty. They made it work with their whole sound and everything they do.
Yeah,
One of those bands that just
timeless. Like their sound still works. You know, it aged well.
yeah, it'll go on for a long ass time
Mm-hmm.
with still introducing to younger
It
audiences.
aged well. Inspired so many fucking bands.
Everybody, yeah, like that's so crazy to think about. And then going back to the Lords of Chaos movies, those bands that help inspire Varg with his little scorpion patch, those were inspirations to him
Right.
in his black metal venture.
Right. And he didn't give a shit what you thought of what he listened to. Like, he was pretty, like, strong-minded, intelligent guy that wasn't easily as influenced. He was influenced by Euronymous, but not as much.
Yeah,
That's why he was the one that saw through the bullshit first. That's why Euronymous turned on him.
yeah,
But the actors did a good job. It's just they were written terribly. Euronymous was kind of turned into a martyr, and Varg was like a bumbling idiot at times. You know, he was just.
I like how you put it too. Like in the killing scene, how he just like did the whole glass of Ovaltine and stuff.
I
like,
know, like if you're so paranoid that you're willing to murder someone that you thought was going to murder you, why would you stop in the middle of the killing to make a glass of Ovaltine? Totally leave yourself vulnerable to get attacked or let your victim get away.
Yeah, right. Call in for help or something.
Yes. Like that was absurd, but
That's what you call good writing.
that's what you call a climax.
Oh man. They wanted it to happen, but they didn't, so they had to write it in. They're just like,
Yeah.
this killing scene would happen way too fast. Like, you know what we need to do?
Mm-hmm.
Ovaltine.
Yeah, because he stabbed him a couple of times in the back, then pushed him into that lamp. A bunch of glass shattered, so that's where he got most of his cuts. According to Varg, he claims he didn't stab him 27 times.
See that? Oh my god, that's so
All the
amazing.
according to him, the coroner considered all the glass cuts stab wounds.
27
27
wounds.
times.
Yeah, see, that's what I could just imagine a bunch of little little knife
And
shards in.
According to Varg, he stabbed him a couple times in the back, maybe a couple times in the front, and then that final blow to the head.
And that was it.
Yeah.
Not just like, hey, let me tap you in the back
Mhm.
with these couple little.
And then the most interesting part of the story was Varg and Blackthorn driving back home to Bergen, the other side of Norway, paranoid as fuck, covered in blood. At one point, they thought the cops were following them. They had to lose the cops. Like that was the most interesting part. It was in some interview with Varg. I don't remember which one. It might have been in Until the Light Takes Us. It might have been in like bonus footage from that. Who knows if it's still even on
But
YouTube?
That's what he said.
It might have been, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like the drive home was crazy because Blackthorn was like, the driver, the rhythm guitarist to Mayhem.
Yeah.
That was another thing. They left out a lot of details that could have helped. You know, I knew Blackthorn was Blackthorn, but the entire last third of the movie, I was like, is that Blackthorn? I don't know for sure.
Oh.
Someone fucking say his name. This is shitty writing. I don't know who this guy is, even though I
okay.
know enough about the story. I clearly know who he is.
So,
But the writers aren't telling me who he is.
yeah, I don't know. It looked like somebody else, right?
Yes, it was frustrating to me, stuff like that, and I know everything about the details of the story.
It's crazy. Yeah, like you said, it just wasn't written as well as it could have been. But then,
Yeah, they glossed over how much shitty American death metal influenced this.
yeah, they
like
didn't
that-
talk about anything about that. I think they only said something about mostly just like, did they? I don't remember them.
Yeah, they just showed a bunch of stuff, and the narration was very thin, and I just wanted more from narration from this something.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
But it was entertaining, but it was wildly inaccurate.
is it a movie you would see again?
Yes, because all the violent scenes are done really well. All the
Okay.
murders and Dead's portrayal was pretty accurate.
Okay.
Except, like, the protagonist of the story was Euronymous, right? So they kind of glossed over the fact that, you know how he complained that Dead just lied there all the time? Well, they failed to mention that he only did that when Euronymous was around. When Euronymous left, he was, like,
Back to being himself,
social
more
and friendly.
lively.
But, like, Euronymous is such a douche to him that he just would isolate himself in his room because he didn't like him.
That makes sense. So in the movie, it made it seem like he's the depressed guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like
And
this.
Euronymous is, like, trying to help him out. But it's Euronymous' fault
Yeah.
for all this. And then when the other members of Mayhem in the movie were, like, in a bar and they saw the news that Euronymous was killed and they all got sad, it's like, no, I saw an interview clip of Hellhammer, the Mayhem drummer.
Yeah.
He said in an interview clip when he found out Euronymous died, he was like, he didn't give a shit. His own drummer didn't care.
He probably just like, I knew it.
He's like, I knew it. One of these guys needs to be gone. That was basically his viewpoint.
I totally can see that. Because, yeah, they didn't.
They're fucking this up. One of them needs to go.
That's crazy.
And it is unfortunate he was killed, but the right person, if someone had to be killed, I think the better person was stayed alive, you know.
Yeah, the person.
Varg is a racist asshole and all, but he's really smart. He's a very intelligent guy.
And he wasn't.
And he was, like, productive in prison. Euronymous would have just boiled in hatred. He wouldn't have been releasing albums and reading books and bettering himself.
That's so crazy to think about, too, is that, like.
He would just be boiling with
just
hatred.
suffering and
just suffering.
making it worse for other people.
No accountability. It's everyone else's fault.
That's crazy. I can see that, though, is because, like, the story just leads that way.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking insane.
No, like, both of them should have been antagonists. Neither one of them should have been martyrdized in that movie. They were both fucking douchebags.
Right. Yeah, that's so shitty that they did make it seem like Euronymous was more like the good guy.
But at the end, they kind of showed, like, hey, like, you remember the necklace of bones? They were just chicken bones.
Yeah.
Like, hey, let's do world tours. Let's make money out of this. Let's turn this into an industry.
Let's get it going.
Yeah. So it was kind of cool to see that point where it's like Varg is like, you just want to sell out, dude. I don't want to play live. I don't want to tour the world.
That's, yeah. Like you said, that wasn't their ambition.
No.
That wasn't the ambition
No,
of music.
but that was probably Euronymous' ambition this entire time, creating this bullshit persona to become a world icon. That's what I think, at least.
Like the world's black metal guy, even though it's supposed to be like an underground.
He said it himself in the movie. He created true Norwegian black metal, even though when you truly look into that, all he did was created a new guitar style.
Yeah.
The speed picking where you hit all 6 strings at once. Like, besides that, when it comes to black metal, besides that guitar's riff style that he created, Bathory was doing all that 6 years prior, back in 1984. Like, Bathory was way ahead of his time.
Okay. So he was doing
because he was doing all of that, all of everything Mayhem and Burzum was trying to do. Bathory was doing that at least 5 years prior.
That's crazy.
It's
So
just except for that guitar riff, that black metal guitar riff.
so they had the lyrics, they had the blast beats,
They had the vocal style,
the bad
the imagery.
the bad quality of sound.
Bathory was way ahead of his time.
Damn. And it all was that stupid open chord shit.
I created true Norwegian black metal. You just created a new way to speed pick.
A new guitar style for that
Like
music.
you still sound like Bathory.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's fucking. But I mean, you have to give him like some kind of credit.
It was innovative, but it's just
The concept of creating the whole genre
right.
is kind of
Yeah. His
douchebag-ish.
influence is kind of inflated in that sense.
Like it's just like he.
And then his death kind of just escalated that.
I guess the success
Kind of like Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
His method acting and his role as the Joker killed him.
It was so intense.
Yes.
That it killed
so
him.
like that kind of immortalized him in a way. Put him on legendary status before the movie was released. In a way.
That's true. Yeah.
In a way. It created a lot of hype, and fuck, he matched it.
And everybody now accommodates like either that's the Joker that you talk about or something else like lower branch.
Or I was telling my friend, like, they picked such a bad Joker to follow Heath Ledger's Joker that it's like no one's really judging was it Joaquin Phoenix? No one's judging his portrayal,
Oh, because of how
because of how bad Jared Leto
did.
So that it doesn't really matter.
How do you feel about the new Joker movie?
It was like it was kind of like the Dos Equis actor. Remember the Dos Equis man?
Yeah.
They replaced him and he was terrible. Like he had you can't replace the Dos Equis guy. Like whoever followed that guy was doomed to fail.
Okay.
And that's kind of how I saw the Heath Ledger portrayal.
I get what you're saying. So
whoever followed him
is not
had to nail it, and Jared Leto did not. Not
So,
even close.
Yeah, so now that Joaquin's in the seat, it's just like
the Lego Batman Joker was better.
who was that? That was Mark.
I think it was Zach Galifianakis.
Was it?
I think my friend told me that. I don't know. You should look that up.
Look up Zach Galifianakis in the Joker Lego movie. Right? Yeah, the Joker Batman Lego movie.
But yeah, they followed up with such a terrible portrayal. It's just like they're not gonna judge him as harshly.
Yeah, he's the Joker. I see it. He's the Joker. We got it. The funny was Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah, one more thing about Varg. I told you last week, the whole Scorpions things. He didn't care what people thought of
The music
what
that he listened to.
And they made him sound like he was this like unknown fan trying to follow these guys. He was the bassist of Old Funeral at the time. He wasn't just this no-name asshole fan of theirs. He was in Old Funeral. He was in a metal band.
So he already had this kind of...
Yes, before Burzum, he was in Old Funeral.
That's crazy, too, is that, like, that scene where they do portray, like, oh, that stupid patch or whatever, like...
And then, sorry to interrupt, but like Dead, he was in Morbid before Mayhem, and they just didn't mention Morbid or their influence at all.
That I don't think. Well, did they have the rights to do that? I don't think they could have, right?
Who knows?
That's stupid. That makes no sense. But yeah, I mean that whole thing.
Yeah, that's another thing. They could have been limited
with the
copyrights because no one wanted to be associated with this movie.
Yeah, who they can mention and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just cut the camera. Just kidding. Fucking, I don't know. Well, that sucks. Black metal. There was a good movie. Let me go back to that.
It was entertaining.
I liked the movie.
But if you know the details, it's wildly inaccurate.
If you're a really true black metal fan, you will just not be too much into it. You'll like it for it coming out, but not be like...
The death scenes are done really well.
Yeah.
All the violence in the movie's done well.
His whole scene, everything.
Yeah. Faust killing that dude in the park. That was done really well.
Yeah.
Dead suicide. Holy shit.
The whole portrayal of him on
like
stage,
that was
too.
really good.
Okay.
Dead was probably the best part of this movie, and he dies like at the very beginning.
And he's gone. And oh man, see that, and I love again how you explained it, how like they made it seem like your Dead was just it's just depressive emo kid.
Mm-hmm.
When in hindsight, he just didn't like Euronymous.
Varg turned everyone against Euronymous. It was no accountability. It wasn't Euronymous' behavior. It wasn't his poor financial decisions.
Being the asshole that everyone knows.
Asshole, using money from record sales for rent instead of giving it to the musicians that you're trying to support through your record label.
You're making a record label, but yet the money you make from it is going to personal uses. Mm-hmm. That's. Mm-hmm. Well, that's black metal.
Yeah, he was paying rent instead of paying Varg. And then you turn around and say that you should kill Varg and create a snuff film with him? How do you think Varg's going to react to that?
Yeah, you
How would you react to that?
You would freak out.
Yeah.
You'd be like, what the fuck? I know I would, but I mean, so the story, the way it's portrayed, just makes it seem more of like...
They glossed over all the fucked up shit Euronymous was doing, the record label, the bullshit persona. He was like kind of went over that, but the bullshit persona, him pissing off everyone,
cocky, whatever,
cocky as fuck. Everything mainstream sucks unless I like it.
Yeah.
Fuck black metal publicity unless I'm involved.
Unless my face is there, then fuck it all.
Yes.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, the writing was bad.
Still, go watch it. I would recommend to go check it out.
The church burning scenes were fun. That's mainly what I wanted to see. I liked those.
Yeah, they did. They had some cool. They had some cool scenes. And then the music again. They had some cool music. They got re-recorded, or they actually let him use it.
He was a huge fan of Coca-Cola, Euronymous. He did love Tangerine Dream.
Yeah, that's there. That's there. All of this is stuff you can look up on the documentary Until the Light Takes Us. Mm-hmm. It's all there.
They were all into they weren't all metalheads. Like Darkthrone was really into this techno group, a lot of techno groups, and they actually had one of them do one of their intros on their album.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like they don't just listen to metal all the time. Like a lot like Darkthrone, Fenris, his number one inspiration is Neil Peart.
No, really?
Yes.
There you go.
Like, he could have been another Hellhammer. He could have been, like, an amazing fucking drummer, but he decided not to. He sacrificed talent for Darkthrone.
There you go. And who's not to say, like, those beats and stuff aren't, like, some of those blast beats are used now in music widespread. Like, you hear those, they're just like, oh, are you going to use that black metal blast beat? And, like,
right.
What the heck?
I know, and then... the deathcore scene. I'm not really into deathcore too much. Black Dahlia Murder's all right. Are they considered deathcore?
Yeah, I would go with like that.
Like
kind of
very early deathcore. But anyway, it just feels like death metal to me all over again.
Yeah,
it's the Florida death metal scene
everywhere.
The '80s Florida death metal scene that black metalers hated in Norway. It's happening all over again.
So I don't know. We'll
generic sounding bullshit. I don't like deathcore.
I hate that. I don't even know what the fuck deathcore is at this point.
Just new age death metal.
Yeah, see, but why should it even be called deathcore then?
Because
why
it needs to be different.
No, it doesn't. Dude, I'm gonna listen to death metal. See, with you saying that, there's this band that I listen to called Necrogoblicon, and I feel they're a melodic death metal band. I could be wrong. Somebody else could listen to it and be like, oh, yeah, this is techno metal, or like, because they use a lot of keyboard oriented, but it sounds death metal to me.
Right.
So it just depends on what the genre taste of what you want to call it.
Yeah, and depending on who you talk to, melodic death metal is kind of a widespread term. There's a wide spectrum there, because Opeth, before they went all progressive, like old Opeth, melodic death metal, but also In Flames and Dark Tranquility are too, and they're all wildly different bands.
Yeah, see, In Flames, I would never have considered them melodic death metal. I don't. I consider more bands like
that Gothenburg Swedish death metal.
Yeah, see, it's more like I consider death metal like melodic death metal like Arch Enemy or fucking Children of Bodom or, like I said, Necrogoblicon and stuff like
so
that.
like heavier stuff.
Yeah, with the heavier.
Yeah, like In Flames has a.
Have you ever heard of a band called Winter Sun?
A lot of good clean singing. Yes.
Yeah, those guys, I consider them really melodic death metal. So stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's
I don't know,
another.
you could write a goddamn thesis on metal subgenres, man.
That's true. That is so true. Have you seen that documentary? There was a documentary. It's quite a while. It's called like Heavy Metal Headbanger's Journey, where he kind of breaks down like a whole pie, like a tree, a family tree of metal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so big, like
Nice.
the way he does it.
Yeah, there's a YouTube video of Fenris explaining black metal, and it's 45 minutes long.
In like a tree, like the family tree of how it came to be
how
and
it
stuff.
came to like the influences before it, which is mainly Black Sabbath, like 70s influences. Black Sabbath, Judas Priest, basically Iron Maiden, because they started in the 70s, didn't
Early
they?
70s
Yeah.
or late 70s, yeah.
And then like there was some things here and there, and then Slayer was another big one, and then Bathory was the most important black metal influence. So then he goes from like the 70s, and then the early black metal, Bathory, Merciful Fate was considered black metal back then.
That's
which
crazy.
was really crazy. And like Possessed, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then he got into the Norwegian black metal of the 90s, and like he really goes into depth on that.
I'll have to check that out.
It's really cool.
Just breaks down the genre of the
Mhm.
black metal scene.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
And he says something funny about Slayer. He says, "Is Slayer black metal? Well, it's metal, and it's definitely black."
Yeah. There you go, right? Heck yeah, man. That was sick. And with that, we'll leave you guys with Slayer,
With that note,
black metal.
it's a good jumping off point.
Heck yeah. But yeah, you guys, thanks again for watching. I don't know, Kevin, you want them to follow you anywhere? Follow him on Twitter. He's got a Twitter.
No.
Calls himself Caveplan25.
No, I don't.
Follow him on Instagram.
please don't
He's got
follow me. Please
Caveplan23.
don't. I post provocative shit all the time on social media. I'm trying to get people to unfriend me. Like, don't follow me.
I'm trying. This guy gets zucked for a reason, people. All right. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for coming, man.
Oh, thank you. It was fun. Thank you. Thank you, Angel.
Angel, thanks again. Cue us out, bad boy. There's no music.